Good afternoon, everyone. In today's video, we are once again updating you with the latest info about the massive nor'easter storm impacting the East Coast this weekend. We are first going to be looking at the European model, and then we're going to look at the GFS model, and then lastly, we're going to be taking a look at the NAM 3km model to give you the latest information on the path of this storm and the full impacts of this massive winter storm that we are going to be tracking. Let's go ahead and go forward when this low pressure system forms at around 6 a.m. Friday and just off the coast here of Florida. And this is going to be gradually heading northeast and heading a little bit north, just enough to go into the northeast and bring some pretty big snowfall amounts in like the northeast. The mid-Atlantic will definitely see a little bit of snowfall, but definitely not that much as due to that track. So let's go ahead and move forward here throughout Friday. This is going to be around 12 p.m. around lunchtime. As you can see, we are definitely seeing a lot more rainfall in the northern portion of this low pressure system. Not much yet in the southern portion, as this is definitely in the ocean right now. But as you can see, let's head forward into the more late afternoon hours. As you can see, that snowfall is starting in the mid-Atlantic. We are seeing a lot more rainfall around the low pressure system. It's starting to head a lot more north here until it heads more northeast due to that jet stream. And as you can see, that jet stream is a lot similar to that massive ice storm that we saw in this area. As you can see, that jet stream is going right down here where that storm started way up here, dived south, and then bring a massive ice storm to this area right here. But this is a nor'easter type storm instead of a massive ice storm. We could still see a very little bit of ice, patchy ice over here in this type of area, but not as much as we saw with that other massive ice storm. Let's go ahead and head forward into the overnight hours of Saturday into Sunday. This is going to be around 1 a.m. Eastern. As you can see, we're seeing a lot of rainfall here. That low pressure is down to 994 millibars, which means you could see some very windy conditions, especially in the northern portion of the storm, and that's where the snowfall is. So we could potentially see some patchy blizzard conditions in this more heavier snowfall areas. Let's head forward into the morning hours of Saturday, and this is going to be around 6 a.m. of Saturday, where the snowfall is heavily impacting Delaware, Maryland, New Jersey. Here it's starting to impact Long Island there, where the heavy snowfall is definitely going to be impacting. Long Island is definitely in that path, that's where New York City is, of course. So in New York City, is definitely going to see some sort of snowfall amounts, potentially up to a foot, but potentially also up to around 3 to 4 inches. It really depends on the track of the storm. It could slightly shift just 50 miles west, and it could bring up to a foot of snowfall for New York City, or it could just slightly shift eastward just about 50 miles and bring up to 3 to 4 inches. So it really depends on the storm, as the snowfall is not going to be super widespread here. But as you head forward throughout Saturday, this is going to be around lunchtime. A lot of that snowfall, a lot of the heavy snowfall is just offshore, but and most of that lighter snowfall is hitting portions of Maine until we head about the late afternoon hours of Saturday. You can see the heavy snowfall really impacting here in Maine, Rhode Island, Massachusetts as well. Is seeing a lot of the heavy snowfall, and that's when the system starts to get teared apart due to that strong jet stream pulling it northeast into Canada. As you can see, a lot of that rainfall is mostly up here and bringing a lot of snowfall to portions of Maine, Delaware, Rhode Island, Massachusetts. New Hampshire could see a little bit of snowfall. Connecticut will definitely see a lot of snowfall as well. But as you head forward here throughout the overnight hours, still a lot of snowfall falling, but it is definitely weakening here. As you can see, as we head into the early morning hours, a lot of that snowfall has exited the region, but as you can see, Maine is still seeing a little bit of snowfall in the early morning rush hours, and once it gets around lunchtime, it's pretty much gone by then. Let's take a look at the GFS model now. Let's go ahead. This is going to be a little bit of a quicker analysis here. As you can see, the GFS model says that this storm is going to be mostly offshore until gets to about eastern Maine, where most of the United States is not going to see a lot of snowfall according to the GFS model. Pretty much the most widespread region would be the Mid-Atlantic, where you could see around 2 to 3 inches of snowfall, which is not a lot of snowfall. So this type of scenario would be definitely a bust of a winter storm. You get those busts in severe weather events where there's either a cap or there's cloud cover throughout most of the day, or there's morning convection and that makes cloud cover, which if the cloud cover doesn't clear out, then severe storms can't form. So that's what we call a bust in kind of the meteorology community here. But as you can see, the GFS again doesn't have it onshore that much until you get to around 30 p.m. of Saturday, where that actually comes a little bit onshore here, but it's going to be on Maine, so it's going to be pretty much too late for these areas to see snowfall by then. Now, we're looking at yesterday's run. I did not double check that, but it is pretty much the same as today's run. As you can see, it looks pretty much identical to today's run here for the GFS model. Of course, there's other models here, but the GFS is definitely sometimes pretty accurate, but this time I don't think it's quite accurate. I think it's going to be much more onshore due to that jet stream. Simply, as we look back here, that jet stream is going a lot northeast here, but as soon as you get over here, it goes right straight east here. So, and there's not much blocking over here to really bring it north. So according to the GFS, it could be actually quite accurate here with this scenario. As you can see, again, it doesn't go onshore because there's not much blocking just to the east of it, but there is a little bit of blocking that it can work with just to the north. And there's that jet stream again that's going straight east once you get to around the Maine area. So that's why it's not going to be going into the northeast like a major nor'easter. This would definitely be quite the major nor'easter if it was more onshore, but a lot of these coastal areas are going to see most of the snowfall here, and the Mid-Atlantic will definitely see around maybe 2 to 3 inches of snowfall at least from this, and this could definitely overperform in the Mid-Atlantic, as we've seen that with a lot of snowstorms this winter season. So let's go and look at the NAM 3 km model and look at your snowfall totals and all of that. Here's a NAM 3 km model. This is the most short range model we can go with right now until tomorrow. And as you can see, that snowfall looks to start from the system around the lunchtime hours of Friday. And then as you can see, that goes throughout the overnight hours of Friday into Saturday. And then you get a lot of that snowfall falling in Delaware, Maryland around 3 p.m. of Friday. And then we head into the overnight hours. That snowfall starts to reach portions of Long Island in around 9 or 10 p.m. and New Jersey as well. Around that time, you're going to start seeing snowfall. More of the New England areas, you're going to start seeing that snowfall around 2 or 3 a.m. And then once you get to around the morning hours of Saturday, a lot of New England is going to see most of that snowfall there, except New York looks to be dodging most of it. As you can see, Long Island is definitely going to see some snowfall from this, but pretty much the whole entire state of New York there is going to be dodging a lot of this snowfall. So any snow lovers that are in New York, sadly, you will be missing a lot of that snowfall. Most of the states just east to you, like New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Maine, is going to see a lot more of that snowfall. Let's look at your snowfall totals according to the Euro model. The latest Euro model, which is going to be 12Z. So this is just coming out here as I'm making the video. And as you can see in the Mid-Atlantic, like I said, 2 to 3 inches of snowfall in more localized spots. As you can see, more of those higher elevations, you could see potentially up to 6 to 7 inches of snowfall. But again, most of these areas are going to see 2 to 3 inches of snowfall, maybe 4 inches of snowfall. This could definitely overperform in the Mid-Atlantic, like I said, if it does have time to kind of slow down in this area. As you can see, a lot of the heavy snowfall starts over here just in the extreme eastern Mid-Atlantic here. We are seeing upwards of a foot of snowfall over here in these pink areas, and more of those magentas where you're getting up here in Massachusetts, Rhode Island. That's where you're going to see upwards of 20 inches of snowfall. So this isn't going to be super widespread according to the Euro model, but it's definitely going to be quite impactful for some of these areas, and especially Long Island there, where you could see up to a foot of snowfall in New York City. So it's going to be pretty impactful for a lot of people, but not super widespread like we saw with that major ice storm in pretty much this whole entire area. It's not going to be super widespread from that storm, but it's definitely going to be impactful for some small areas up here in the Northeast. And there is definitely populated areas up here like Providence, Massachusetts. So definitely a lot of those areas are going to be very impacted here from this winter storm. Let's go and take a look at the Northeast / New England snowfall amounts. As you can see up here in New England, you're going to see upwards of 20 inches of snowfall over here in these magenta areas. Like I said, more of around 8 to 10 inches of snowfall in these pinker areas. And more of those darker blues, that's where you're going to see upwards of 3 to 4 inches of snowfall. And any of the teal colors to gray, that's where you're going to see likely a dusting of snowfall. So in New York State, you're not going to see a lot of snowfall, but lake effect, if you do live in lake effect areas, that's something going to bring upwards of a 1 to 2 inches of snowfall, but really not a lot of snowfall over there. So mainly a dusting in these types of areas. But once you go a little bit more eastward, that's where you see a lot of that major snowfall. So this path, again, can change over the next 24 hours or so. I will have an update tomorrow afternoon, so definitely stay tuned for that. Here's the NAM model. As you can see, it's not much of a difference here. Maybe some more snowfall amounts in the mid-Atlantic, but really not much of a difference here with these areas here. So again, more of those magenta areas, that's where you could see upwards of 15 to 20 inches of snowfall. Pink areas, you're going to see upwards of 8 to 10 inches of snowfall. And more of those blue areas, that's where we're going to see 4 inches or less. So definitely, again, stay tuned for updates. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel so you won't miss another update or live stream on this extreme winter storm hitting mainly the Northeast here. Share this with any friends or family that may want the latest updates on this winter storm, especially those who live in these areas, and that those will be very impacted. But anyways, stay safe.